Yeah. Okay. That'd be great. I learned like 10 years of being stressed.
Of course, yeah, the bonds house.
And I haven't had enough big back.
Who is it?
And we really have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, those things. Study, I would love to do that. Don't bother about it. But we have those. We're going to tell you for that.
You're interested in new ideas and what perspective you want to bring.
Okay, if I can ask you, go ahead and take the seat, please.
So I don't presume anybody did anything. I presume it was.
Chair seats the quorum and call the meeting of the Arkansas State Board of Finance to order. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I also want to say good morning to members of Secretary of State Thurston staff, the treasurer-elect. So I've already relayed my congratulations. So look forward to working with him and he assumes his duties on the Board of Finance starting January 1st. Thank you. And hope you find this to be an educational experience. Again, as I expressed to Secretary Thurston, we're going to be very available over the next couple of months to help in transition issues, answer questions, make sure that he and you hit the ground running on January 1st. So thank y'all for being here. Thank you. And having said that, I looked to my friend, Treasurer Larry Walter. Don't pick on him. We'll sing your praises. So with that good news, there's some bad news that goes with it, which is that Treasurer Walter will be exiting office on January 1st. I have expressed to him, I have a spot for him in the state revenue office. So, what's it? You're from South Arkansas.
Do I get an armed guard?
No.
You'll need to pay your own movie.
The inside joke there is that Eudora's my ancestral acres, so it's where the family's.
And I'm from Southeast Arkansas.
And he's from South Arkansas as well. So anyway, he's my friend. I've had a chance to work with him in a lot of different capacities, but it's actually been a joy to work with him as treasurer. He's just a good teammate, and we're gonna miss him greatly. So how about a round of applause? Would you like to say something?
Well, this was 10 years I've been on this board and several other boards. And this, along with the APERS and TV, those are special boards to be on. They mean so much to state employees and teachers those have always been very, very near and dear to my heart. I think my responsibility on this board and those boards very, very seriously because of the impact they have on the employees of the state. I've loved every minute of it, to be honest with you. I'm going to be saying that
It's just gonna be something else you're gonna be doing. I have confidence in that. And it's a joy to work with Larry. One of my comforts in life really is that whenever something comes up, I have this kind of standard line I'm able to give. I'm going to give it for the foreseeable future, which is I'm not sure why Larry did it that way. We'll blame him for it. So, well, thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
It's great to serve with you. Okay, let's move into our agenda. The first item on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes of the August 22nd, 2024 and September 27th, 2024 meetings. The meeting minutes have been distributed beforehand. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I do believe there may be a correction needed on page 2 of the August 22nd board minutes. First full paragraph, there's reference to the rate of return for first quarter fiscal year 25. I believe that should read July 1 through September 30th.
This is the 22nd.
Yes, sir. Second page, first full paragraph. It reads June 1 through August 31st.
Uh-huh.
I believe that should read July 1 through September 30th. Unless there's a separate accounting that's done specific to these minutes.
Looking at Debbie. Debbie, is that correct? The motion would be to adopt the minutes as modified by Commissioner Marshall. Motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The minutes are adopted. That's minutes for both meetings. Okay, now to lateral to Treasurer Walden for the presentation from the State Treasurer.
Thank you. Good morning, members of the Board of Finance. It's my distinct honor to report to you the financial results for the first quarter of fiscal year 2025. Our earnings for this quarter stand at a record amount of $101,900,000, the highest quarter we've ever had. During that first quarter, we witnessed significant economic and world events, including a notable cut in the federal funds rate by the Federal Reserve Bank on September the 18th. The rate was reduced by 0.5%. A decision that has had an impact on the operation, obviously, and influencing our strategies. As we move forward, it is critical that we remain responsive to the evolving economic environment. Proactive measures, the proactive measures that we have implemented will serve as a solid foundation for sustaining growth and prosperity in the subsequent quarters. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the dedicated investment team, along with the entire Treasurer staff. Together, we have achieved a significant milestone, and I am confident we will continue to build on that success. So now I will let our investment team give you updates on our portfolio, and I want to start with Stephen Kilgore, Investment Accounting Director and CPA. Stephen.
Thank you. Party Treasurer and Mr. Chairman and board members, Stephen Kilgore, Director of Investment Accounting. And as we look through the slides, we'll share some highlights from the recent quarter. In the first slide, we have short-term revenue, which shows revenue totaling $28.1 million for the quarter, with the highest amounts coming from interest-bearing bank accounts, from money market funds, and from commercial paper. And on the next slide, we have the division of ledger income within the long-term sector, which contributed $74.8 million in ledger earnings for the quarter, with the majority being from mortgage-backed security interest receipts, followed by receipts from corporate bonds. And page 4 shows how investment income is allocated between categories. This is on a daily accrual basis.
Mr. Kilgore, could you just speak up just a little bit just to make sure they're hearing you okay on the screen?
Yes. So page 4 shows how investment income is allocated between categories on a daily accrual basis, with only minor differences then between the ledger basis totals. So you have $101,951,000 shown as that total for the last 3 months. Last 3 months is the first fiscal quarter. And page 5 shows fiscal year by year accrual net investment income. Interest income for the current fiscal year remains on a pace similar to that of the previous fiscal year, with annualized book return being stable by quarter. Book return includes gains or losses on the sale of bonds, but does not include unrealized market value gains or losses. Total return, which is not shown annualized, has been boosted by bond market value increases, which are classified as unrealized capital gains or losses. Book return and total return are both favorable for the fiscal year so far. Interest income has continued to grow, while bond prices have increased with lower market rates. In page 6 shows the mix of the portfolio by duration and credit rating. Durations are concentrated at either less than a year or between 4 and 6. And corporate bond credit ratings are concentrated in the A range, with all of them being at least BBB. And that final slide is the rating for commercial paper. Next slide shows investments by category as a share of the total portfolio. And then the final slide, or the next slide there, shows the trend in interest rates over time as the Treasury's portfolio yield, the dark line, has risen along with these rates as bonds mature and are replaced. I'd now like to turn it over to investment managers Steve Pulley and Robert Romanak to discuss the portfolio and plans from a more strategic perspective.
First of all, are there any questions that y'all may have? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, Mr. Chairman, and board members. As you can see, we have very promising numbers to report. The portfolio return for Q1 was a 3.55, precisely aligned with the benchmark projection of 3.5 to 3.6%. The portfolio generated substantially, 101 plus million in income for Q1, which continued a trend of record results. These outcomes validate the construction of our portfolio, emphasizing our past investments to extend duration and add convexity. These strategies should offer stable income with reduced volatility during this transitional period of interest rates. The posture of our portfolio is well positioned for favorable performance if rates move lower. The total size of the portfolio is a steady $11.6 billion. Our long-term portfolio is valued at $9.5 billion and currently earns at 3.26, serving as a solid foundation for these results. The liquidity aspect of our portfolio is earning a 5.29, and the money management trust fund for the period earned a 5.44. We remain vigilant about the pace at which the Federal Reserve will cut key interest rates. Such reductions, in conjunction with the distribution of the federal funds, could have a negative impact on our future earnings. For context, 1 year ago, the 10-year Treasury was a 5%. September of this year, it dropped to 3.63%. Today, it's 4.45%. So as you can see, we're operating in a very volatile environment for us to invest our funds. Looking ahead to slide number 9, our 12-month forward projected cash flows from the portfolio at the end of Q1 is estimated to be close to $1.3 billion. It's elevated by the recent downturn in rates, and this figure is approximately $400 million more than we'd projected coming into the fiscal year. This additional cash flow will provide our investment team with ample flexibility to address any unforeseen liabilities that may arise throughout the year. And with that, I'll ask if anybody's got any questions concerning the report.
Yeah, I think I asked the Treasury staff just to be prepared to respond to some questions about what potential earnings could look like going into FY26. And so just maybe a little bit more commentary as think about market volatility. Long-term rates do seem to be stabilizing and trending upward in some respects. And what do we think that could look like in terms of projected book rate of returns without looking for contract number?
Well, what's interesting is coming into the election, the market's kind of told us that Trump is going to win. It's kind of odd to say that, but rates started moving up. So there's some inflationary aspects that the market is perceiving. However, we see the Federal Reserve that's as I mentioned, we're in a transitory period. They're trying to get out of a restricted environment into more of a neutral posture for monetary policy. With that being said, the most sensitive part of our portfolio is the short-term aspect. We've got a couple of $1 billion, but the factors we look at are the cuts in interest rates. Where they cut 50 the first go round, they'll probably cut 25 tomorrow, and we'll have 100 basically captured that'll be cut by the time we reach year end. Long story short, with many variables, we conservatively look at possibly 10 to 12% off of last year's number, potentially is a negative result. So last year we did 368 million on income. 10 to 12%, I think, is a conservative, possible impact on moving toward the end of the year. So we'll see how it plays out.
One of the things I've been paying attention to is obviously we're not going to appear to go back to the historically very, very low rates, or zero rates. So that's a little bit of a buffer for us. Plus our fund balances are just so considerable. So in my mind, it seems like interest income will still be substantial relative to what history has taught us in terms of portfolio earnings. Fair.
Fair.
Any other questions for any other board members? Buttons?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll now turn over to Rob Romanek and let him give the macro view and the Q2 benchmark recommendation.
Steve. Morning, Chairman Hudson, Treasurer Walther, and members of the board. With your consent, I will be setting the new target rate of book return for the second quarter of fiscal year 25. At their scheduled meeting on September 18th, the FOMC opted to reduce the Fed funds rate by 50 basis points, bringing the new target range to 4.75 to 5%. Fed dot plot, or projection for forward interest rates, reflects 2 more 25 basis point rate cuts for the remainder of 2024, with the next cut anticipated at tomorrow's November 7th meeting. The Federal Reserve also projects an additional 100 basis points of interest rate cuts for 2025. This would suggest an approximate Fed funds target terminal rate between 3 and 3.5%. The economy has shown resilience buoyed by stronger economic releases in September, which included higher new job creation, lower unemployment rate, and robust retail sales figures. This has led to a very volatile and counterintuitive market response since the Fed began their accommodative rate cutting cycle, in which yields have risen approximately 80 basis points since their September policy decision. However, Fed officials point to a combination of significantly improving inflation and the need to preserve the currently strong labor market as rationale to bring interest rates back to a neutral level. Given the Fed's data-dependent approach, we expect to see a gradual response to policy accommodation, which should result in steadily declining interest rates in quarters ahead. We therefore are proposing to decrease the target rate of book return value for the October through December period from a range of 3.5 to 3.6% to a new range of 3.4 to 3.5%. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to set the target rate of book return for the October through December quarterly period from a range of 3.5% to 3.6% to the new range of 3.4% to 3.5%? Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Any other matters from the treasurer report? Any questions from the treasurer?
Thank you.
Do I hear a motion to approve the treasurer's report? Motion second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, the next item is quarterly motions for the third quarter of FY 2025, January 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2025. These motions were included in the documents that were distributed to each of the Board of Finance members by email. As Chairman of the State Board of Finance, I make a motion to the board that no funds are available for deposit into the State Board of Finance Certificate of Deposit Program. Need a second to my motion.
Second.
Second by Treasurer Walford. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. As Chairman of the State Board of Finance, I make a motion the board direct the Treasurer of the State of Arkansas to purchase warrants for the succeeding quarter, January 1st, 2025 through March 31st, 2025, pursuant to Act 1088 of 2013, and to keep reasonable amounts in demand deposit accounts and money markets during the next quarter for the transaction of day-to-day state activities. I need a second to my motion. Second by Secretary Biskin. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. We'll next move into the Employee Benefits Division component of our agenda, and I recognize Grant Wallace to make his presentation.
Good morning. We will start with our formulary, which is page 32 or so in your packet. These formulary recommendations are for September, October, and November. Most of this is just reviewing some cleanup aspects on the pharmacy side, on our pharmacy formulary, as well as some reviewed drugs that would be added on. Ones that probably would like to highlight, you'll see some dosage changes out throughout there. We're going from a Retevmo tablet to the Retevmo capsule. Again, as that just kind of advances and they have new ways to administer that. Outside of that, everything else is pretty straightforward and standard, but I'd be glad to answer any specific drug questions that you have.
Any questions? We'll go ahead and approve this one at this time.
Yes, if we can do the pharmacy formulary first, then we'll do the medical.
I move for the approval.
Right. Motion second to approve the formula recommendations that have been provided to us. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Next would be the medical, and just as a reminder, the medical drug formulary, these would be administered in a clinical or office facility type setting. They are administered through our Health Advantage contract, not our pharmacy Navitus contract. What we've done here, it's 6 of them are new to market that we are either excluding or putting in coverage criteria for. The other half are ones that have been discontinued or no longer going to be available. So we just need to clean them off of our formulary. And then we've got a couple in there, removing them from the medical side and only doing them through the pharmacy side. Again, just making sure that that's clean and we don't get any confusion within the coverage benefit. Don't have any one that I would specifically highlight, but again, would be glad to answer any specific questions that you have.
Are there any questions for Director Wallace? I'll second. I'll flip through there and look at it. If there are no questions, do I hear a motion to approve the medical formulary recommendations in the report? Your second?
Second.
Motion second to approve the medical formulary recommendations. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries.
The next section would be contracts that we have upcoming. The first one is a 1-year renewal with Health Advantage. This is the last 1-year renewal that's available to this vendor. And as you'll see, the contract is for 50 million for the plan year of 2025. So January 1st through December 31st, 2025.
Secretary, if I may,
Yeah, please.
Brent, and then tell us what happens after that, please.
So glad
Refresh our-
you, yes, so
refresh our
glad you
memory.
asked. We are very close. We are in the final drafting stages of issuing an RFP for the third-party administrator. I keep telling everybody, oh, it'll be next week. That's been about a month now. So I really do hope within the next week we get it out. But yes, we are very close to issuing that. And we've got a couple other RFPs that I'll talk about after we do this.
And would Health Advantage be prohibited from bidding again, or?
No, they
Okay.
have the ability. I fully expect Blue Cross Blue Shield to be an active participant in the RFP. Quite frankly, whether it's their Health Advantage plan or the Blue Advantage or anything else under their umbrella, I don't know. And I do expect this to be a rather robust RFP. The Blues no longer have the prohibition that they can't compete against each other.
Okay.
So Anthem should be a big bidder in this, as well as whether, United Healthcare, Cigna, Aetna, all of the players, they're all very close within their rate structures. So I'm hoping for a rather robust process.
Do we have a consultant?
This is the consultant that we're working with. Foster and Foster are the ones that are helping us on this.
They'll work on the RFP.
Right, evaluation and all of that as well.
Any other questions?
You need a motion?
No other questions, y'all, entertain a motion.
I'll move that we approve the third-party administrator healthcare benefits plan for the middle of the final year.
Health Advantage. Is there a second? Any motion second to approve the Health Advantage contract? All in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Motion carries.
All right, the next contract before you is with Mainstream Technologies. This is our current technology provider. This would be an extension to go through the end, December 31st of 2025 for 1.75 million. This is just giving us the time to do any transition. We have already issued the RFP for the technology vendor. Again, I'm hoping to have a robust RFP process with that as well, but it is out on the ARBI website. So any of the public that listening to this broadcast that wants to bid on that, please do so. But in all seriousness, this is just giving us 1 year of time to transition if there is a move to a new vendor and a new system. My hope is to not use the full year. So obviously, if we end earlier, we transition faster, we would not spend this much money on this contract.
Could you give us a little information about some of the kind of new add-ons or improvements, expansions that you're looking for in the next piece of technology?
So glad you asked. Not that I planted this with you at all. Honestly, we need a more intuitive system, one that is more member-friendly, app-friendly. From a workflow, we need our workflows better integrated within the platform itself so that we are able to hopefully leverage some system improvements where some things can be done before we actually get it. It's not so manual. We have a very manual process right now. More ease in reporting so that from my perspective, I'm able to log on, see some dashboard, quick facts and figures, a whole lot better queries and data management. Just like anybody else in kind of the health insurance space, you're more of a data management company than a benefit provider. So we really need to be able to tap into that to where we can better make strategic decisions on how we administer this benefit and manage our plan. And then finally, being able to integrate our workflows within the agencies and school districts, more streamlined, easier to see, better to track the work that's going on, hopefully to avoid phone calls or emails. Everybody can log on to this portal, see what activity is going on, and kind of know where they stand. Self-do a lot of the things that we're having to do right now.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion for extension of the contract with Mainstream Technologies through December 31st.
Motion from Secretary Biskin, is your second? Second from Commissioner Ritchie. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Just I do highlight two additional RFPs that we are working on. We've got 4 total. I've already told you about the technology and the TPA. The other 2 that we're working on is the spousal health incentive reimbursement. That one is out and a decision, it should close this Friday or early next month. Or early next week. We did have to make answer responses, so it did delay the closing on that one. And then the next one is, I just drew a blank. Oh, yes, public student loan forgiveness. We are working on an RFP to have a vendor come in and consult and work with state employees who have student loans and are participating in the public student loan forgiveness program. This will be an enhancement for an employee benefit just to help them navigate that process. It is a very complicated and complex process, but one where if you did take these loans and you do go to work in the nonprofit or government space for a matter of 10 years and you make your regular 120-month payments, then you are able to have the balance of your loans forgiven. So there is space for somebody to come alongside, help advise us on how to manage that as an employer, but also advise our employees on how to navigate that process and get the full benefit of that program that's been in place since Bush 43. With that, that'll be it.
We'll move into financial reports, or are those just reading materials?
Those are just FYI. Want to make sure that y'all have the latest on the finances. The only thing I would highlight on that is we continue to look at the public school fund. I do appreciate the work that the legislature and the education committee have done on that, and some targets that they have set out going into the general session, which should get us back on track with that fund. The state employee fund is looking very stable and solid there as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. That concludes the regular part of our agenda. I will now make a motion for us to move into executive session pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated 2519-106 C1 and 2, discuss personnel matters relating to the performance of an employee for consideration of discipline or discharging. I need a second to my motion. Have a second from Auditor Milligan. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Motion passes. The board is now going to adjourn an executive session. Unless you're a member of the board, you must leave the room at this point. All who are online, we will be closing the online portal to anyone who is not a board member.
You'll need a second reason.
Oh, but I did that. But the reason we're going to executive session is for consideration of discipline or discharging an employee. So, I thought I did.
Where's your office now? Where's your office now?
Yes.
We send links to the two board
Like
members online.
80%.
We close that down.
Good.
Yeah.
So who will be online?
Kimball McLaurin,
Yep.
Frank Moore.
Okay.
Kimball really, with me here, Kimball doesn't really need to be on there.
Yeah, I think we have a quorum without Campbell.
Yeah.
So let's
Shut it down, please.
let's have Campbell
Yeah.
drop off.
I didn't.
We never tried to-
I did, yes.
So we
So we rent and remove Campbell.
I'm not telling right.
Yeah, he's on.
First person that's.
Well,
You have before, you understand.
Oh, you're in trouble.
Disgraced music mogul Sean Diddy Combs was famous for holding his annual 4th of July
He is on here.
Yes, I switched back to the original link.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, I think you're available. Can you just confirm that you can hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Good deal. Okay. The Arkansas State Board of Finance has concluded its executive session. We're now returning to the public component of the meeting. As chairman, I'm going to make the following motion. I move to terminate immediately the employment of Autumn Sampson, an employee who reports to the Arkansas Board of Finance for violation of policies and directions of the treasurer and the board. We have a second to my motion. I have a second to my motion by Secretary Fiskin. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The motion passes. Seeing no other business before the Board of Finance, we stand adjourned.
Like that. Maybe.
Awesome. Yeah. Just steam and armor that thing.